with JavaScript. So from today we are going to start working with JQuery. So we are going to learn about what is JQuery, how do we deal with the JQuery. So today we are going to handle JQuery interactions. So what is JQuery and how do we use JQuery? The prior knowledge for JQuery, you need a good knowledge of JavaScript. So if you know JavaScript, JQuery is very easy to handle. Just only we need to understand how it works. Actually, JQuery is JavaScript library. JQuery is JavaScript library. Technically, JQuery is JavaScript library. A library means it comprises of predefined functions to handle various interactions. Ready-made functions are present. So the main intention is write less and do more. That is actually the slogan of jQuery. You don't need to write much logic. You can easily handle interactions. The main concept, the main advantage, actually jQuery is used in DOM manipulations and CSS manipulation. It is used in effects and animations, and it is used in utilities. It is used in Ajax, and JSON parsing. All such activities are managed by using jQuery. jQuery is used in all these interactions. With JavaScript also we can do all this, but it takes more time. A lot of logic need to be written in order to handle all these interactions. So jQuery makes it very simple. So you can just write less, and very important is it reduces compatibility issues. It reduces the compatibility issues. It reduces the compatibility issues and interactions are very simple to handle. That means compatibility issues that usually JavaScript have, and cross-platform. That means it is understandable to every browser operating system environment. So same like JavaScript, so that it can simple. It is, you can say that it is a JavaScript library. In JavaScript, you have to write the functions to handle a lot of interactions. Here, functions are readily available. We can simply use them. So that is one of the key feature of jQuery. How jQuery is used, we will see how it is used, how it will work. We will discuss about that. Actually, jQuery actually introduced by John Resig. Introduced by John Resig in 2006. And after that, several versions of jQuery released actually. So 2006, that is the first version came. So version 1.0 was in 2006. August. And later several versions came, and the latest version of jQuery is jQuery 3.4, 3.5 versions used regularly. You can get it from the jQuery official website. This is the jQuery official website. Means you have to download jQuery to use jQuery. This is the jQuery official website, jQuery.com. From this, you can get the jQuery. And 3.5.1, that is the latest version available for jQuery. So one of the main purposes, it is lightweight, cross-platform and all. Important is jQuery provides a lot of options, which we will learn category wise. Step by step, we will see that. Already, we know how to download jQuery. So you don't need to come to this website. Through NPM, you can download. This is the official website from where you can download jQuery. They will give you a JavaScript file which you can use. Already I showed you because we learned Bootstrap. When we learned Bootstrap, so when we learned Bootstrap, cross-platform means that only, right? Cross-platform is a general software terminology. Cross-platform means it can run on any operating system, services, and any device. Okay, that's a simple, basic thing. Just software developers know about it. Okay, so that is the point, right? You can download from here, but no need to come here. What you can do is already we downloaded. So the latest version is latest stable is 3.5. So we can use this 3.5 latest version here. And important is it's not necessary that everyone have to use this version, because only some new features to utilize you can use this version. How do we download and install this? We will see that. How we can download and install, we will see. Already we done that in Bootstrap. I told you already, when we are using Bootstrap, we already downloaded jQuery. So in our node modules, we have jQuery, and this is the jQuery. In package.json, you will see the version 3.5. That is the latest version already we are having. And we installed already in our Bootstrap concept, I told you. Because in order to use Bootstrap jQuery, you need to install this jQuery. Already we were using in all our Bootstrap concept, jQuery we were using. So downloading is not a new thing for us. We already know. That means download jQuery for your project. How to download jQuery for your project? You have to download npm install jQuery. That's it. And already I given you this, how to download and how do we work with jQuery in Bootstrap, we learned about it. Now how to use jQuery. So how we can use jQuery. Let's see step by step. So one by one we will see. We don't need to spend much time on this because already we know everything. Just you need to understand syntax, how to write, how to configure, just basic syntax. I will show you how it is easy when compared to JavaScript, how it is using. We will see that. Step by step, we will understand about that. First point is how to keep jQuery ready. How do we keep jQuery ready? There are various ways of writing that. You can write in any way. So depending on the requirements, right? Actually, first, after jQuery is installed, let's create a folder here, a new folder, jQuery examples. Okay, let's add a new file into it. So demo.html. So I'm designing a HTML page, doc type HTML, head, And here we want to use jQuery. Script source is equal to, first you have to import jQuery from node modules, jQuery, and in that dist jQuery.js. So that is the core file for jQuery. So this we already know. We are doing from Bootstrap onwards every day. Now, how do we use jQuery? How do we write jQuery? Suppose I have a body section, and in that we have a heading. Heading is having an ID, MSG. In the heading, I want to display. Generally, what we do in JavaScript, we write body load, onload. Onload, we write a function. That function uses get element by ID dot inner HTML is equal to that message. JavaScript uses a lot of events, and JavaScript uses a lot of logic to do that. How jQuery works? So after linking the jQuery library is ready. Means loaded, but it is not ready. It can't work now. It is just loaded, but you need to make jQuery library ready so that it can start interacting with HTML. To make jQuery ready, that means first what you have to do is link jQuery core file to your web page. That is another step you have to follow. So first and the second step, you have to link it. And this is how generally we link. In the head section, we are linking the jQuery core file. Okay. After linking the jQuery core file, next point, we need to make the library active. That means invoke jQuery library. To invoke jQuery library, we have several techniques. We have to write a script. In the script, we have to invoke jQuery library. How do we invoke jQuery library? There are several methods. So that means we can write like this. Dollar is used to refer the functions in jQuery library. The functions in jQuery library are invoked by using dollar and parenthesis. So this is a function. It is a callback function. This function starts jQuery. So this, you know that this is an anonymous function now. This anonymous function is used to start jQuery. You can write in several ways. You can write like this, or so people write like this. You can write like this also. In the script, what we have to do is we have to write dollar in that document. Document means page. Dot ready. Ready is a function. When ready, document ready, what actions it has to do. We have to write in this way. We can write in this way also. Traditionally, you see people writing in this way. But this is also enough. That means when document is ready, it will start the functionality. This is like page load, means this is like body load. That means it is ready. Actually, it is ready. That means dollar invokes jQuery library. And on page load, that means when document is ready, means DOM content loaded. When document is ready, now it should take control of HTML. Without document ready, you cannot take control over HTML. To make the document, you have to invoke JQuery library. This is invoking JQuery library. Now after this, suppose I want to display a message in heading. Initially just heading 2 is there. I want to display message. So here I am writing a script and a dollar, and I will write function, and how to access this heading. So dollar parenthesis H2 is heading. You can access it. How you can access the HTML elements? You can use all CSS selectors I told you. ID selector, class selector, type selector. This is type selector. You remembered selectors. You can use all the selectors here. Currently H2 means it is type selector. H2 means it is type selector. You can use tag name, you can use ID, you can use class name. You can use all your CSS selectors. CSS selectors means you can use like first, last, even, odd. You can use first child, first of type, last child, last of type. I told you all CSS selectors if you remember. Nth child, nth last child, nth of type. I told you all selectors, you can go use them. Basically used selectors, we have 3 selectors. I will give the list of them. Initially, this is heading 2. Okay. In heading 2, I want to display some text. What text you want to display? Text. So welcome to JQuery. That's how you have to write. No get element by ID, get element by name like methods required. Just you can access directly the IDs, directly the name. And I will run this now. I will run this. I'm not writing any body load, anything here. That means when document is ready, means DOM is ready, it will see is there any H2. In that it will put some text. All these functions I will give you a list, but I'm just showing you how simple it is. I will access that and you can see it should display that message welcome to JQuery. That's very simple. That means, so I want to put some alert, so I can, here rest of everything is your JavaScript only. That means you declare variables, you put alerts, you put prompt, anything. Everything is your JavaScript only now. Everything is your JavaScript only. That means alert, I said some hello, hello, that message should come. And I refresh here, it shows that hello. I say okay, then it will get that. So everything, whatever you know in JavaScript, it will come here now. Only the point is your references will change. Your basic event approach will change. Less code to do more. That is what actually the intention of jQuery. So in real-time projects, we don't use JavaScript directly. 99% all projects who are related to web technologies, they use jQuery. So whatever you learned in JavaScript, you have to correctly put it in jQuery now. Means if I show 1, 2, 3 syntaxes, you can handle all those examples in the same way here. How you tried the examples in our JavaScript, same everything you can do here. Here coding will be reduced. You don't need to write much interactions. How I will show you how you can manage that. But this is a simple approach, So just, this is a simple approach. How do we use selectors? I will tell you now. That means this is, and example is this. A simple example of a simple page, how to handle it. Now, what is the first point you have to know here is jQuery selectors. Actually, first you have learned here, this is invoking jQuery library by using factory function. Factory function is nothing but dollar this one. This is factory function which is used to invoke jQuery. So it is a function you need to configure as a function, or you can define different functionality on document ready, on Ajax, or others also I will tell you. Initially, this is the basic approach. If you know selectors, you can do it easily. More how? Generally, jQuery selectors. So you can use tag name. That means it refers to HTML tag name. That means like $P. This is for paragraph. Like $H1. This is for heading 1. Like $TD. This is for table data. Like this, you can directly refer the tag name. You can refer the ID. That means it refers to unique ID for a tag. That means, for example, so we have a div ID is MSG. Then how we can access it? $. You know that ID selectors are accessed by using hash MSG. That's it. Suppose there is a paragraph. The paragraph ID is, suppose, some txt or text box is there. Input type is equal to text and ID is txt name. How you can access it? Just simple $hash txt name. No more document.get element by ID. You can just use hash for ID selector. We have a class selector. Class selector, you know, class selectors are used with dot. That means it refers to class name for defined for tag. That means actually, suppose I said div ID is equal to, suppose any class name effects. Sorry, ID class is equal to effects. And how do we access it? Generally, what we have to do, $. In the $dot effects, you know, class is defined by using dot. So it's very simple. You can use all CSS selectors. That means not is you can use all selectors of CSS. So whatever selectors you learned in CSS, you can use all selectors in CSS. And by using those selectors, you can define. Suppose you want multiple classes. You can define multiple classes also. That means $. So dot class 1, comma, you can define comma dot class 2, like this. You can define. Generally, multiple classes are defined with space. Here you can define with comma. We can write first, last, first of type, last of type, nth of child. Already we learned all CSS selectors. We can use descendant selectors. Descendant selectors means you can write like $. So div, so or UL, in UL it is list item. You can write like this. So you can use all the CSS selectors you have learned. We learned about various CSS selectors. If you remembered, I told you $. So div, tilde, so P, that is the paragraph inside it. So all these are common. So nothing to learn newly here. Whatever CSS selectors are there, you can implement. So regularly used selectors, we have ID selector. All the selectors list, I will give you a document. You can go through that. Okay. I will upload a document of selectors. So you can get information about all of them at one place. That is important. So if you know selectors, it is easy. I will show you with selectors how to do. So this is heading. Okay. I will put here a paragraph P. The paragraph ID is MSG. Okay, here in that ID, I want to display dollar hash MSG. That is dot text. Inside it, I want to display. So this is displayed using ID. This is displayed using ID. And you can see it will display that inside the paragraph that is displayed using ID. So that is simple. Suppose you have a class, you can access and use the class. Suppose I have div. So it is having a class called fx. And here I'm just accessing the class name. How dollar dot, so fx. And here I'm using text. Text is, so this is displayed using class name, and I will save this and refresh, and next line is displayed using class name. So selectors are very simple now. You don't need get element by ID, get element by name, tag name and all. You can just implement in this. That is very simple and easy to handle options. Now what you have to learn here is rest of options are very simple. I will show you. So options, how simple. So this is one example. Okay, copy this example. This is an example. Now what we need to do is when page loads, I want to display. So when page loads, I want to display some prompt. So I will remove this now. I will keep a paragraph here. The paragraph is MSG. Only one paragraph is there. Okay, alignments, everything you can write with your own effects. Here I'm using var username is equal to prompt, enter name. And here I need to collect and display that username. That means here I'm just writing. So where to display inside MSG paragraph, that means hash MSG dot text. What text you want to display? You put the expression here. So hello, and the dollar, whatever the username entered in the variable. That's it. So this time the coding looks very simple. We don't need much events. We don't need to set inner HTML of the paragraph, get paragraph by ID, right? Lengthy functions not required, simple function. We can just access that and we can use that, right? You will learn why you are in a hurry, I don't know. This is our first day of jQuery and you are asking about special effects graphics in jQuery. Just like, think about it, right? If you want to apply, you can apply when you learn everything, okay? I don't know why you are so hurry in the concepts every day. We are just started with jQuery. You are asking about special effects in jQuery, right? So here, this is first you learn jQuery basics, then you will add special effects in jQuery, CSS, effects and all. That's what we are learning, no hurry, right? Yeah. So here we are just understanding how to access and use. We need to learn how to apply various effects and all now. This is simple. Now when I refresh here, it is showing a prompt, enter name. I entered some name and say okay, then it should get that and display. And you know how to handle cancel, how to handle empty, all the topics we learned now. That means we have to put all the logics here. You know how to put them. We have to write the condition. If username is equal to null, that means nothing is entered. Then you can just display $.hash MSG.text. So here we can display MSS message, nothing but so you cancel that message will come. Else if we learned username, if username is equal to empty, then what to do? So then dollar, so hash msg dot text, message text should display, what should display? Name cannot be empty, that message will come. Else what should happen? All these are common, no change. So the logics, loops, conditions, few iterations, for iterations and all, some shortcuts are provided, but others logically same. Here the point is, if conditions, for loops, everywhere they have to be written in the same way. For loops and iterations, little change in the syntactical concept. Rest of options, everything is fine. Now you can see I click cancel, it says you cancelled. I click OK, it says you cannot be empty. I entered some name and click OK, it displays that. These are all concepts are simple. Now there is no shortcut for multi-level if conditions and statements. You can use ternary operator if it is one or two statements, right? But rest of things you need to manage. Here, effort of JavaScript references is reduced in jQuery. This is another example how you manage. How to handle on button click, mouse over events. This is all we will learn with the simple points so that you can easily handle. First, what you need to know is how to write jQuery, how to start with jQuery, how jQuery refers elements. This is the first level we need to understand. Next, we need to understand about jQuery HTML and CSS functions. So then we can do some more things extra. We need to know about what are the jQuery HTML and CSS functions available. Simple, so many functions are there. So we have HTML function. So it is similar to inner HTML. You know what inner HTML do? Text function. It is similar to inner text. So these two functions are same. Suppose you see here, I am using inner text. Suppose I want to display the name as bold. That means hello, and I am using B, and I am using I, and I am closing B and I. Bold and italic for that username. And I am typing here some username, and I click OK, and I click OK, and you can see it shows BI same, because text is like inner text. You know, inner text, inner HTML. That means now I change this to, instead of text HTML. Then what will happen here? So I entered some John and click OK, then it will be in bold and italic. Just like how you know inner HTML, inner text, we can use these attributes. That means just you have to print the message in this way. So this is a simple example for that, inner HTML, inner text. One is using inner text, other one is using inner HTML. If you try this in inner text, it will not display. You know that. So here, simple. Earlier we have to use these properties. Now we have to just use these functions, simple. So no need of get element by ID and all this. We need to just use inner text and inner HTML. Another val is important actually. That means another important function, how do we get the values from various controls and display them? So that is important to understand. Usually for that we need some button related options also, clicks and others also we need to learn here. We will see how we can manage that. First, another important function like HTML, like text. We have so many other options. Another function is, let's say, this is 1 and this is 2. And another function we have is val. So it gets the value of HTML element. If a HTML element is having a value, it gets the value of that element. So it can also set value into element. We can get value and set value into element. We can get and set values into the elements by using this val. But remember that element should support that value property. You know that every element is not having value. That means div will not have a value, span will not have a value, paragraph will not have a value. Drop downs, text boxes, radios, check boxes, these will have values. We can get and set the values by using this val property. It is a function. By using this, we can access and use them. So technically, suppose you have some text box. So technically, you have some text box. Here, I am having text box. Input type is equal to text. Now, in the text box, we have an ID as txt name. So here we have a name. And initially, that is empty. Name text box is empty. I want to set some value into it. If I want to set some value into it, when function ready, hash txt name dot val. So what value you want to set? Some John value I want to set. And once I refresh, it will set that value into it. You can set a value into this. That's very simple. You want to configure a value into any element, then you can just put the value into it. Val function is also used to get the value and use the value. Get and use the value. But for that, we need events to understand how do we handle the events. This is setting the value. Now we can get the value and display. Suppose here, see, I am using another line, hello, and here I want a span and ID as MSG. So, or LBL name. In that LBL name, I want to display that name. Then what we do is $hash LBL name dot HTML, because it is a span. Inside it, we want to display the text box value. That means $. So here we have to put here again $. So hash, so txt name dot val. Its value will come and display. You can do one more thing. You can store this in a variable and we can bring that variable and display. Or we can directly display. How to store in a variable? Suppose I can put here var, so var username. Username is equal to, how to get the username? By using this val function, and I will pass that username here. You can directly write it or you can configure in this way. Now here you can see that John will come. But when I'm doing here modification, so David, so it is not modified there. Why? Because for that we need event. On event, we have to update that. Currently, what is there in the text box, it is bringing it and displaying. Whenever you do modification, if it should update, then you have to write it on event. What is the event? Like key up event, key change, key press event, we have to write the events. Currently, this is to get value and to set value. How we can get and set value through events? I will tell you how we can do that by using events. So I will tell you. First, val is used to get and set value. So generally, in order to handle events, you should know how to write the events. Later, I will give you a separate session on events. temporarily to make you understand. See, how do we write the event here? Suppose beside the text box, we are having a button. We are having a button. I will say submit. Okay. This button, I have only one submit button. You can have ID. ID as BTN submit. Okay, good. Now what should happen? On submit button click, I need to call a function. Generally, how do we write events in JavaScript? We write on click, on change, on mouse over. The events I told you, all the events. Here we don't need to do that. Simply, what is the button? So hash BTN submit. So on BTN submit, what is the event? Dot click. That's it. When button click, click is a function. You have to write a function. What this function has to do? It should get the value from text box and display, get the value from text box and display inside this LBL name. That means it's very simple. Dollar hash LBL name dot HTML, because it is a spam. It is a span, right? From where we have to get the value? Dollar hash txt name dot val. That means it will get the value from the text box and it will display inside that label. This is only simple one line statement with two more lines of event. Earlier, what we have to do? We have to write on click function. Here, we have to write a function for on click. We have to get element by ID of label and get element by ID of text box. Its value should be added. But here it's little simple. Now when I refresh here, you can see it shows like this. I entered some name and I click on submit. It should get that and show. I'm adding a different name. So some different name and click on submit. It submits. That's simple. So it's very simple. You can correct the value from any element and you can display. So here I am just collecting the value from name. Suppose we are designing some simple control. That means how do we get the value and use the value? Let's see that. On button click, I will change this. Okay. Let's design one simple screen here. So I will keep a div and here data list with the data term. So data list with data term, name, data definition. How do we get? So input type is equal to text. Okay. ID is txt name. Okay, fine. Another data term, I said city. And data definition, I'm using a select. Select have an ID. Select have an ID. LST cities. So here we have some option, some Delhi like this, some Hyderabad like this. We have an option, Hyderabad. I want to collect these two details and display. I want to collect these two details and display. So I'm having another div. And here I said details. Here I keep the heading as registered. Okay. And here I have details. I want to show. So data list, data term, name, and data definition. Here I will use ID, LBL name. Okay. Another data term, city, and data definition, ID, LBL, city. Okay. That is just a design. Here we are having like this. Now user will enter the name. He will select the city. After that, he will click the button. That means here I will keep a button and button ID as BTN submit and submit. And when submit click, I need to collect those details and display below. Earlier, we have to write a lot of logic for that, get element by IDs and all. Now see, here in JQuery on btn submit click function, what should happen? Simple. So hash lbl name dot html, because it is a data definition. Inside it, what you want to show? I want to just show dollar hash txt name dot value. So that means it will get the value of the text box. Similarly, dollar hash lbl city dot html. Inside it, what you want to display? Hash lst city, lst cities is the drop down name, right? Drop down id. lst cities dot val. It will get the value and display. That's it. So it reduces our logic. Earlier, we need to write a lot of document get element by IDs. Now here I refresh and I am entering some name and city and submit. Those details will come. I am changing the city, submit, it will be there. So I entered some name and selected a city and submit, it will get that. It's now easy to handle the interactions, get the data, manage the data. That's all we can manage by using events. I will tell you how to manage, but this is a simple. That means control ID and what event you want. Suppose you want on key up, you want to update, on change, you want to update. Then here you have to write on change, on key up. That separately I will give you. This is simple option to understand how to use the val property, the val function. It is used to get the value. It is used to set the value. You can set value into it. You can get the value from it. This is another example of getting and setting the value. How we can get the value and set the value. So for that, we need little bit of event also. Means like button clicker. You can apply, another function is we can apply CSS. We have a CSS function. How you can apply CSS? By using the CSS function. You can add effects to the presentation. Whenever you are presenting, you can add effects to the presentation. So CSS means generally it applies a CSS effect to HTML element. That's simple. So how do we apply the CSS effects? We can write single effect. You can write multiple effects. How do we define the CSS effect? Actually, syntax. We have to use CSS function. So we have to write the property name and its value. CSS property name. You have to write the CSS property name. And what should be the value? And if there are multiple CSS properties and values to apply, so that means you have to just use an object reference. If you have to set multiple, then you can write like this. CSS can be written like an object form. You know, in an object form, generally we can write CSS in an object form. Here it will have property 1 colon value. And after that, so comma, you have property 2 colon value. That's it. If you want many, then you have to define in an object style. If you want one, then you can just define property and value. You can add multiple CSS properties also. Just you have to write in this form. So how you can define? Suppose see, I want to display the value to the label LBL name, LBL city. I want to display the label name and label city. And we want here, yeah, we want to display some effects also here. That means effects also I want. You can add that. That means LBL name is what? LBL name is data definition. LBL city also data definition. You Want to apply some effects to the heading or anywhere you want to apply some effects to them, then what you can do is you can add them, or simply I will put here heading 2 is there. Wherever heading 2 is there, I want some effects. Then how do we do function? What we have to do, dollar, how to access heading to h2, because everywhere you want to apply. Dot css, we are applying the css, and we have to write the property and value. The property, what property you want. So property background hyphen color. Okay, color. So what effect you want to apply? So suppose some dark cyan. Okay, then comma. So another property. What is another property? That means we need to configure multiple properties, and we need to define multiple properties. So that means this is background color. So background color is some effect. Okay, we have to use separate here. Background color, that is one. What should be the effect? Dark cyan. Another color is what? So color is some white. Okay, another. So text align colon. What text align center. You apply your effects there. That means wherever heading 2 is there, everywhere this effect is applied. Now I refresh here, then it will apply the CSS there. That's simple. Right, on button click you want to apply, on page load you want to apply, where you have to define, you can define all the CSS. So you can use an object style, property name and value. What property and what value? Multiple properties and values, they are separated in an object style, right? And every property and value you need to enclose in quotes actually. Every property and value should be enclosed in quotes. So that is property and value, how you define the properties and values. So that is a simple example how we can apply the CSS effects for them. So these are the important options of CSS. Now, so many other attribute functions are there in jQuery. I will give you a list of all the functions, how to use them. Then you can design everything same like JavaScript here also. And those functions we will see tomorrow. So tomorrow we will finish with HTML, CSS in jQuery. Then we will learn about jQuery effects and events. Right? So it's easy. Just only 2-3 sessions we will finish jQuery with Ajax also. Just only the point is you have to try all your examples here. In the lab session, I am giving examples already. I given several examples in the lab session to practice. Our people are attending lab session and they are trying those examples. Right, in jQuery also examples I will give in the lab sessions, there you can practice. Okay, right. Then tomorrow we'll continue with this. Right.